All right, so we're live today for Miniature Modeling Mayhem Podcast. We have Martin from Seven Sun
Hello.
here, and we're gonna do some painting and talking.
We are.
All right. So you painting some War of the Roses?
I'm sticking them. I'm currently sticking them together and trying not to slice the ends of my fingers off. Because I'm trying to do a lot of. I'm trying to repose some of them just so because I've got so many now. I'm trying to even with the large variety of poses you can get from the Perry kits. I'm starting to copy myself because I've done so many. So I'm currently trying to cut away this broadsword and give it to someone else so he can be basically wiping the blood off it. So I'm. I don't know if he's going to be mixed in with a unit, so he's going to be quite hard to see. But I thought, well, it's a challenge, so why not?
All right, my focus today is American Revolution. This regiment I've been working on for the past month. It's the second Massachusetts Continental line, and I'm going to be focusing on this fellow here.
Oh, nice.
This is a drummer. I'm going to be looking at the colorization of the drums because they are rather different. And this is my resource.
So uniforms. Okay. Oh, I've seen that book. I think that's quite popular with people doing AWI.
So the English side of things, their drummers had reverse facings and the gold. So I got to see what the American side of the house has.
What they were up to. See, the American War of Independence is something that I really do need to start reading more about. It is something that I've been looking at, but it always seems to be another project that comes along.
Yeah. Well, black powder. I know you're into black powder, the Napoleonics.
I am. I quite like muskets and tomahawks as well, though. So I've done the French Indian War, and the American War of Independence is about 10 years later, I think. 10 years later, something like that. I think I'm probably mistaken. So I thought, well, I really like that system. And while I do really like mass battle games, I've done a lot of Napoleonic stuff. So the thought of doing, say, another 2 large armies for that is kind of off-putting. But whereas muskets and tomahawks is quite a nice size. So it's quite similar to sharp practice, I think. So that would be more. I'd be quite up for doing that at some point. But I just need to start reading a bit more about it.
Oh boy, yeah. I just finished reading a book. Where is it? Oh, it's in another room. It was following a British regiment that had participated in the very first fightings in Massachusetts at the very start of the war. Literally at Lexington Green.
Okay.
They're right there. And then the remarkable thing about this regiment is that it stayed over in the American War the entire duration, and was one of the regiments that was at Yorktown at the end, very end.
At the end. Okay. Wow.
So they saw a lot of action in the north and the south. So it's
you probably find that over here in the school curriculum, the American War of Independence, surprisingly, it doesn't feature very heavily over here when we're learning. In fact, our own Civil War doesn't Civil War, but the English Civil War doesn't. Mostly we do Tudors, And then we do sort of stuff up to about 1939, and then it stops. We don't do anything beyond that. Yeah, if you want to over here, if you want to learn about the American War for Independence, it's all sort of independent. That might, I mean, it's been a while since I was at school. I probably might be wrong now, but it involves going out and looking into things for yourself, which is always fun.
Oh, well, there you go. I would say it's the opposite, but it's regional in the United States. So I grew up in Virginia, literally a few miles from Mount Vernon, which was George Washington's house.
Okay. So, I have a connection to George Washington from the other day. I went to, this is well, it was random. I went to a wedding about 4 weeks ago, and my friend got married in this very, very nice stately home, and I can't for the life of me now remember what it was called. But throughout the entire ceremony, I was trying to work out why there was an American flag flying in the garden, and I couldn't work it out. And it's because it's I think they were George Washington's grandparents, and that's his family's estate.
Oh, really?
In England, yeah, which I didn't realise. But of course, later on, when the drink started flowing, I plucked up the courage to actually go and ask someone who worked there, because I didn't want to look stupid, but I was really curious. But yeah, so no, it was really cool. So yeah, my friend got married in, I guess, what would have been their hall, so where they'd have had sort of big banquets and stuff. But they had quite a big connection to George Washington. Sorry, I kind of cut in there, but that was what I heard. And I was like, it's something relevant that I knew about.
Yeah, my grandfather was very much into the American Revolution. Would travel. And my father would lament because he would drag my father when he was a child to all these different battlefields. Not just the Civil War, but American War of Independence as well as the Civil War.
See, yeah, I got my mother that does the same with me. She used to drag me around all the battlefields, and now I intend on doing it to my daughter. So we're going up to visit my in-laws, and they all live in the north of England. Yeah. And on the way, we've got to go past Towton. So the Battle of Towton, the biggest Battle of Walsall Rose's biggest battle on English soil. We've also got to go past Ferry Bridge, which is where there's a big truck stop service station. So we're all going to go there.
Good girl. Sorry about that. My dog decided to do rascally things.
That's what they're for. That's what dogs are for.
Well, she's about 4 months old puppy here, so a Labrahealer.
Labrahealer. Oh wow.
So it's like she's at the stage of Velociraptor stage, so she's into everything right now.
Right.
And she's learned how to open up doors.
So he's like that scene in Jurassic Park where the raptors come along and trying the door handles.
Yeah.
See, I've just got a cat that turns on taps to get a drink. It's the type of tap that you push, which is really frustrating because he can turn them on, but he doesn't turn them off. So you'll come home and there'll be a tap running. Which is a nightmare. So I've had to change the tap handles just because of the cat.
I used to own several cats. I had one that was extremely smart, and I had another cat that was not quite so smart. So I can in the one that was smart was able to get in the cupboards, and then the one that was not so smart was she was a couch potato. We just stay on the couch all the time.
My cat thinks it's a dog. That's pretty much where he's at. This looks like this is actually going to win. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, that's what my cat was like. The one that was not so smart was she thought she was a dog, even though there wasn't any dogs around at the time. Boy, my wife and I had an argument about it too. We were like, the cat was standing between us, and I was like, she acts like a dog, and my wife was like, no, she doesn't act like a dog. If she acted like a dog, she would sit when I say sit. And then guess what happens?
And then no way. That's one of those situations where I don't know if you actually, because of what the results might be, you don't actually know if you want to be right. I don't believe it. It worked. Wow. It actually worked. I can't believe it. I don't know how well this is going to come out, but
yeah.
He's it might focus in a second. Go with focus. He's got his cleaning his sword with a bit. I've used some putty to sort of mimic a cloth. So he's got his. I might have to make him the unit leader now.
All right.
I'm pleased with that. It's always fun when something like that actually comes off. You have an idea and it actually works. Oh, there we go. Oh.
Yeah. Last weekend my friend had another Blood and Plunder game. He invited me to, but I had things I had to do with my wife.
That's a game that I really, really want to play. Well, I really want to play it, but also I don't, because I know when I play it, I'm going to end up spending money and then having to create a new board and all sorts.
And then he sent me photos of his thing, and basically it was natives assaulting a settlement from the ocean.
Ah, cool. Oh, wicked.
Let me take a look here.
I've seen a few battle reports, and it always looks like good fun. Like there's always something happening. It's not like a game that gets bogged down. So it always looks good. Because they've done a World War I system as well, haven't they? The company who produce it.
Let's see. Here we go. So that was his setup that he, my friend Greg.
Oh, wow.
So
that's fantastic.
European settlement.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. That is just so cool. Wow. And that's literally a cat in the pirate's hands there. So have you played it? Is it
played, oh yeah. I played with them the week before. We did a ship-to-ship fight.
Is it a game you enjoy it? You think it's
a good
game?
I think it's actually a very nice game, and what's nice about it too is that the folks over at Firelock they've done their homework, and they've really put in a lot of research into making sure that everything is accurate historically.
Yeah. Cool.
I have to say that it's very impressive. So yeah, he sent me this as the torture to
yeah, because you're not playing. Yeah, I know that.
You didn't show up.
My biggest sort of say torture moment was
It's okay. Stop that.
We're meant to go to Salute, and I got my tickets, and then it was before my my eldest daughter was born, and our day at the hospital where we sort of go to one of these classes where we learn about happened to fall on the same day as Salute, and I was sitting in this room with all of these. We've sort of basically been told, basically what it was going to be like, what I should be doing, and what the kind of music we could play is, which is definitely not music to my taste, and how we should be being supportive, and what we should do. Whereas my friend was texting me all these photos from Salute about showing me what I was missing and the big games and all of the stuff that he'd bought. The only thing that sort of made that slightly more satisfying for me was on the way home he broke down. So that was my thing. I couldn't believe it. Every 5 minutes my phone was pinging, and it'd be another photo. So, look at this game, look at this release, look at what I've just found, look at this bargain. I was getting more and more and more annoyed. And what made it more annoying was when we came out of the class at the very end. My wife basically went, "Well, that was pointless." And went, right, brilliant. So I could have just gone.
Yeah. So I looked at the American drums. They're brown.
Okay.
With a white roping and right edging. So a white edging. So that's found that interesting.
Nice. So a bit different.
Yeah.
Right.
At least the Massachusetts regiment that I'm doing. Looks like other regiments had different colors. That complicates things, huh?
It does make things slightly more awkward, doesn't it, when that happens? I've just done that thing where I've decided I don't like the head that I've stuck on, so I just had to prise it off really quickly and then find a better replacement. There we go, that one will do.
Yeah, and I've decided to make this 1777 based off of the Battle of Saratoga, or the Freeman's Farm. These guys, and so in 1778, Congress put in a uniform regulation for the Continentals, so they'd be mostly the same uniform. But before that time, every state had their own special uniforms, and within those states they had their own even different uniforms for different regiments. So I decided to do that to change things up, and also in the Battle of Saratoga, on the British side, they have some Hessian units, which makes the British not as plain, not just all red, but you get some blue in blue uniforms in the British forces, which I think is kind of fun too. I mean,
yes. I was, they say for muskets and tomahawks, I was looking at the Hessian stuff and sort of like the British Allied units. So I thought that might be quite fun to do, because obviously I've painted a lot of red doing the British for Napoleonic. So I was trying to, and also I don't want to paint Highlanders. I don't want to do any Highlanders because I don't want to paint Tartan.
Oh boy.
So I was going to look at other things. So that's definitely an option.
The Highlanders in the American Revolution wore trews instead of the kilts.
The kilts.
So that might be easier to paint.
They might be, but you see, that's the kind of thinking that's dangerous, because you'll do that and you go, "Oh, it'll be easier," and then you'll get to it, and then you'll look at it and go, "Do you know what? It's not." I was going to do all 3 Scottish regiments for black powder for my Napoleonics. I did 1, and then I just like, never again, never again.
Yeah, I did it for French and Indian War. Now that one was a little different because the Scots had. I had 1 regiment of Scottish, and they have not just the kilts, but the full drape over this one shoulder thing too.
Oh yeah, the sort of full, the one that it comes across. It comes like a sash sort of thing that comes across,
which is also tartan, of the same tartan color as the kilts. I think it's all one fabric, isn't it?
I think it is. Yeah, and the thing is, Victrix, they're Highlanders. Total Battle, is it Total Battle? Battle Flag. Yeah, Battle Flag make transfers now to fit those perfectly. Mm-hmm. But I think my funds and everything will just rip it apart and get in the way, and so if I ever think about them again, that may be something that I would possibly think about getting someone else to paint for me, like commission painted. Purely not because I can paint tartan. It's just I really didn't enjoy it. I didn't paint anything Napoleonic after that for a little while because I had to let the memory go away. Yeah,
it's trouble because it's freehand painting. I mean, it's not like painting the lanyards stuff of a hussar's uniform. It's because that's easy to do with dry brushing or washes, but doing the freehand stuff is kind of difficult.
Sure. I see. I don't mind doing the freehand on my Wars of the Roses because I like doing all of the individual heraldry, but I find you can break things down. Or the way I do it is by breaking them down into shapes, so the nearest possible shape that at 3 foot away will look more or less like the thing I'm trying to convey. But with tartan, it's not. It's just all lines and squares. And if you do one, I think if you do one that is slightly too big, you can see it and it stands out in my mind. So that's what I found frustrating. I found that I kept on going back over and over things that I'd already done. So in the end, I just walked away. They're done. They'll do.
Yeah. Yeah, I did the Fraser Highlander Regiment because everyone does the Black Watch.
Yeah.
And I learned why everyone does the Black Watch instead of the Fraser. Because of the tartan colors for Black Watch are forgiving because they're so dark. For Fraser, it looks like a 1970s sofa.
I can't remember who I did. Hang on a second. I did the Black Watch. The Black Watch in the 90. Yep, I did the Black Watch, the 42nd. Yeah.
And I think it's a little more forgiving because it's darker,
Yeah. I'm not going to lie. That's probably what I looked at and went, yes, that one I can get away with a lot more.
Yeah. All right. Making some progress with these guys. But I go over this, their uniforms, and I go, oh, I missed something. I missed something.
That's that's a unfortunate. Mine is usually if I've finished a project or a unit and I'm doing a video and I take some photos to put in a show reel at the end. I'll edit everything and I'll be editing and then I'll notice something that I haven't done. And the question is, do I finish the video or do I go away and paint that thing and then take some more photos? what do I do? There was one. And it was a command base, and then I didn't notice it till the end. I hadn't painted the stirrups, the metal parts of the stirrups, and I was looking at it, and I thought, no one's going to notice. And then, right down there in the comments, the third comment, remember it came. They said you forgot something, and I hadn't told anyone about it, so I had to go and do it because it frustrated me.
Well, you know what? I mean, at some point you gotta go, okay, I'm done, and don't fiddle with it.
I think a big part of it is actually learning when you've done enough as well, because you find a lot sometimes paint schemes can be over complicated for what's else, and learning when to sort of walk away from things or go, this looks really good, it's solid, let's just leave it at that, because then you can always add some weathering on the base or the legs to give a bit of added effect once you've got the rest of the unit done. That's always, I think, it's just what I tend to do with the Wars of the Roses stuff is because there isn't a huge variation when it comes to the armored characters in what they're actually doing. So I try to vary the tones of the armor using the contrast paints, and then I weather them quite. I'll literally beat them about, but I use a much lighter silver, I use a chrome to create scratches and dents in things, so I can so they just look a bit beaten at the end. So once you've got a solid foundation, sometimes it's best to just go, right, I'll just do some dry brushing at the end, and then you'll be done.
Yeah, that's another project I need to get started. I started, but I need to get back to is my Lance Connect project. And specifically, I've got Lance Connects in Swiss, as well as Knights from the Holy Roman Empire to do that 14.99.
Oh, the Swabian War.
Yeah, Swabian War.
That's very cool. That's where the Swiss proved that they are not to be messed with.
It was like one of the first times, and that they really proved pike tactics to the world, and it was a shock that.
Didn't they win? They won pretty much every battle, didn't they? Except for like a few times that they were surprised or they were ambushed or something. Didn't they pretty much? What was I've forgotten the name of the battle. That's the pretty much decisive one. I've forgotten. That's going to annoy me. But yeah, they were fighting against sort of mercenary troops, and then the pike blocks just did their thing. Just short work of everything.
Yeah, and it's a combination of pikes and pole arms, and they. I think the neat thing about that war is a mobilization of the Swiss and react to an invasion. And I find that's the neat thing, is that how they were able to actually mobilize an army that fast in that time period to be able to actually react to and push back and defeat a force many times greater than they are.
Yeah. No, I know. Well, they just finished. Well, I say just finished. They'd recently, obviously, beaten the snot out of the Gundians, and no one really saw that coming. They were sort of well versed. So I don't know why. Was it Maximilian who chose to? Was it Maximilian
I think it was Charles V.
Yeah, whoever. Yeah, basically, I don't know why they thought that would be a good plan. And also, one thing I do know about it is they just kept on taking all the Swabian guns. They just kept on nicking at all the guns after the battles, and they didn't learn from this, and they just kept on fielding more and more guns, and the Swiss just kept on taking them after the battles. So by the end of it, they had this amazing armament.
Yeah, because they thought that it would actually turn the tides. That part of Europe, unlike the European theater, had decided, hey, even though longbows are superior to the arquebuses, the training time investment of someone to learn how to use an arquebus was way cheaper than the training time for the longbow. And so that part of the world, they just decided to go full crossbow and arquebus.
I think I read an article as well, because I was reading about the Burgundians. Also, the terrain had quite a bit to do with it as well. You haven't got. I mean, obviously, grand scheme of things, you have got quite some wide open spaces. But if you're ambushing people from, high slopes and trees and things, if you, as you say, the more people you can field who can quickly learn and fire something, it's going to be an advantage. So,
yeah, that's for sure. And another thing with the arquebus, which is a little bit different from a crossbow or the bow, is it's got an extremely short range. But when folks get into melee range, a lot of them just simply used it as a huge club.
Batter them, yeah.
And it was an effective club too. So they're not for missile troops. They're a little bit more mean, I should say, when it comes to melee fighting or melee.
Yeah.
All right. Here we go. So for the past month, my 3D printer for my filament side has been printing up cobblestone roads.
Right. That's cool.
So I'll have an entire set of cobblestone roads to use for, and I realize that the versatility of cobblestone roads can be used in anything black powder, anything Roman, any Japanese samurai. It's in built up areas of American Revolution.
They are, that's it. It's a fantastic piece of scenery, and you can in the if you want to do some medieval stuff as well, you'll be absolutely fine. Yeah. Obviously, pretty much, Actually, apart from, and in the sort of in the early phase, sort of the Saxon period, you've got them. It's just they're not exactly maintained, so they've got bloody big holes in them, so you can always gouge some chunks out.
Oh yeah. So and it's going to be used for World War II. So
perfect.
I think it's a month worth of printing, but I think it's going to be pay dividends. It's a little bit of a philosophy I have for building terrain. is you may go through different armies through different years, but terrain can be used throughout your life. So if you can just build it nice and build it strong,
Definitely.
it'll last you for decades.
Yep. I also recommend if you're doing anything that involves sort of horsehair or rubberized horsehair or teddy bear fur, and you have mice, that you lock that stuff away because I found that a mouse had gotten into my teddy bear fur fields and had made a home. And now, if you ever watch my battle reports, you might notice in the teddy bear fur fields there's random trees. That's because that's where the mouse chewed a hole.
Oh no!
So I have these holes, and I'm not redoing all of the mats. So I now put a tree in there, which is fairly accurate. You get these random trees in the middle of fields. I've had comments from people saying, "Oh, that was really forward thinking." I was like, "No, it wasn't. There was a horrible little mouse that wrecked some of my scenery." No, you're right. No, I mean that's what I try to do. My scenery is generally, I would probably say 80% generic, and then 20% period specific. And usually the only thing that's period specific is the buildings, and that'll be about it. So thatch roofs and timber frame buildings in the medieval period, and getting into brick houses for Napoleonic and World War II, and then for sort of the Dark Ages or anything like that. Sort of wattle and daub. Although I do have those, I've got those really nice buildings from Oshiro Terrain is it Oshiro Terrain? Oshiro Miniatures for Test of Honor for my samurai. They're very nice. Yeah, they're really nice resin models that you can make a whole town out of this stuff. They're a very nice kit. So that's making me want to make a dedicated board. But I got told no when I broached the subject with my wife.
See, my wife is not into the miniature gaming as much as your wife is, but she is into board games.
Yep.
And talking my wife into doing a dedicated gaming room was not hard at all. In fact, she jumped into it.
See, that's awesome. See, Haley was the only reason Haley started playing war games was because we were locked down. I got really sad because I wanted to play a game and I hadn't played a game for so long. And so all it took was 16 years, her not being able to leave the house, and me being sad, and her taking pity on me to make her play to make her play a game. And then she enjoyed it, so I was quite lucky. But up to that point, we'd played board games, and she was a fan of tabletop pen and paper RPGs as well. Good old fashioned things like basically things like Dungeons and Dragons or Middle Earth role playing game MERP, and a few other things. He enjoyed those. She's probably the most psychotic RPG player I've met. She's always some kind of fighter class. She basically is the Mountain from Game of Thrones.
Okay.
The guy gets turned into a zombie, kind of zombie mountain, or the Hound. Or whatever. That's pretty much what her character is like normally in things. I think once we move, I think a gaming room or some kind of hobby room. So I do have this room here. It's pretty much my sort of hobby space. The only thing is I share it with the fridge. But I don't mind that because it means that the beer is and the wine is literally an arm's length away from me. So
oh boy, yeah. I have a mini fridge in my game room, and I have also a wet bar in the game room too.
Wow!
So I can actually entertain guests.
Fantastic.
And of course, I built up a table myself. That's 6 foot by 8 foot.
Okay, that's good. That's not too big, and but plenty big enough. Better than a 6x4, but not so massive that it's.
Yeah, I've seen those ridiculously sized tables over at on the Black Powder rule book that the Perrys have.
Yeah.
And I think I see myself trying to reach over that table to get a unit in the middle of the table, and then having my belly just like smash.
I think that's like, you look at those tables and you think I'd like to game on them, but I wouldn't like to necessarily own it. I'm quite happy for my friend to have it, and then I can go and make use of it, and then he has to worry about the storage and the repairs.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the table's held up very well. I built it myself. I got the lumber, cut it up, put it together, and stained it, and then put a full, almost a quarter inch of poly over it, so it's totally protected. So it's nice for not just wargaming, but for other events too. So since I stained it and polished it and stuff, it can be used for my wife's board gaming events, as well as if we decide to put like 10 table chairs around the table, we can do Thanksgiving or something like that at our house.
Oh,
comfortably.
Cool. Nice.
Yeah. So, yeah. And then our newest feature in our game room is ice maker.
Yes. I keep. Do you know what? That's something that we look at. Because my mother-in-law has an ice maker, and every time, especially in the summer, that she uses it, I look at it and go, "We could really do one of those. I can justify that," and then I forget about it until the next time I go around that house.
Yeah. And that wasn't my idea. That was Andrea's idea. She needed to have ice for her drinks. So I'm like, okay.
Brilliant.
It doesn't pull my arm. I'm like, that's another feature of our game room. Yeah. Yeah, that's and we have a huge old entertainment center that's filled with her board games.
I've got to trim down my board games. I haven't got any more room to put them, and I'm not playing them as much as we used to. So I'm gonna have to be a bit brutal and get rid of some now. But that's gonna be hard.
Yeah. Yeah. So what board game did you play last?
The last board game I played was Mice and Mystics. That was the last one I played. And then on the same weekend, I also played a game called Myth that by Megacon Games that came out a few years ago. I quite enjoy it, but it's sort of. I think that sort of died a death at the moment. Although another company's picked it up and they haven't done anything with it. But we'll play everything from cooperative games, living card games. Quite enjoy. Have you? There's a set of Sherlock Holmes games where you're all trying to figure out and solve the crime, and it's called Sherlock. It's simply just called Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective, and basically,
I've seen that.
Yeah, it's sort of a cross between an old-fashioned choose your own adventure book, and it's quite fun if you've got a group of people, especially if you've had them over for food and you've had a drink or something, and then you get presented with the case, and you get given a newspaper for the day, and there might be clues in there. You get given a directory of London and just sort of go, and you've got to try and solve it in as fewer turns as possible. But each turn there's one decision maker, so it breaks any deadlocks, but there is a lot of arguing, and then when you think you've solved it, you do the moment where you reveal the killer, a bit like Scooby-Doo, and it's this person, and then you're meant to read this paragraph that says how Sherlock Holmes solved it, and then you find out he solved it in like 3 turns, and this is how you could have done it, and then the game rates you based on what you did, on how well you did. So so he normally takes an average of 4 to 5 turns, and I think we're averaging sort of like 14 to 15 different things before we could work it out. And it's good. It's really good fun, but they keep expanding it, and each of the components are lovely because they are really papers made to look like Victorian London papers, and you also get a few other bits and bobs, that sort of adverts and clues, and they've gone to a lot of effort. So, and you can play it solo as well. You could just sit there and do it on the train or something if you've got a long journey.
Huh. Okay. Nice. Yeah, I haven't played that one. We played a different one that was app oriented. I don't remember the name. Okay. Case Files, I think it's called. Okay. And so you have all the components of the game, like cards and these little cardboard pieces that show the different locations. And the cards have like the different people and the different objects. So what you do is you scan with your phone the little scan thing on each card or cardboard location, the difference.
Yeah.
The scan code, and it'll tell you what you're seeing. And when you get to the crime scene, you can actually see like a virtual reality.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Scene. And you can walk through your phone and the lenses of your phone. So it's interesting.
Yeah, that sounds good. I like the idea of that.
My wife and I are not the best at mysteries, though, so we didn't do so well. There's a few cases that 90% of the cases we haven't done. So I've got a police friend and also a private detective friend that I'm gonna have to invite over. And
yeah, are you going to tell them that's the reason, or are you just going to have them look at this game I got? I think we should all give this a go.
Yeah, because I thought it'd be neat to. I don't know. Is that cheating? I don't know.
I've done that, not for games, but I have done that when I had some I was trying to make sense of something in my accounts, and my accountant friend came round for dinner, and I just sort of left them out like on the coffee table. They just like, what is it? Is that your account? So I went, yeah, but they're causing me a headache, and it just what is? I was like, well, this here. Oh, that's simple. I said, well, how? Can you show? So he was showing me, and then by the end of it, he was saying, oh, I'll just give it here. I'll do it. Brilliant. Good.
Oh boy, isn't that the case? I have another friend who's a DA, and the fun thing is that my friend that's a police officer and my friend that's a DA, they're both very much into board games. So they might actually get a kick out of it.
That's cool.
Because most of the mysteries are like murder mysteries and things like that. So, all right. So, I'm at the stage where I'm waiting for the paint to dry.
That's the worst bit, and then you're looking at it and you think, yeah, it's fine, and then you'll do something, and then they'll bleed into each other, and
Starting to do that drum. The walls of the drum are brown. So
that's cool. I've stuck together 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I've done 11 so far out of my unit, which is a mixture of bow armed infantry and bill armed infantry. But it's just these are the standard sort of Wars of the Roses units that I do. I'm just trying to find. There you are.
All right. So it looks like Chris is stopped in while he was on a coffee break at work.
Oh, cool.
Hey, Chris, how you doing? Let's see here. Show. Dan, I'm at work. I wanted to paint.
Isn't that always the way?
And then, hi, guys. And I'm on a coffee break. So he's Chris. All right. So Chris is in Canada. So yeah, maybe next week, Chris. So I'll do the session later, and then we'll do a nighttime session, and we'll see what we can do. Okay.
Come on, there we go.
That's one of the things that I'm gonna be doing is I changed the times around on this.
Yeah.
And maybe that's. Let me take a look here. Okay. All right. So that's probably why there's not many people on watching us.
That's all right.
Yeah.
It's just like the thing is, it's nice to just do some modelling or some painting and have someone to talk to while you're doing it. That's why sometimes when I turn my live streams on, that's I don't always do it. Sometimes I'm so tired from work or something like that. No, but sometimes I'll turn it on because it's nice to have some company while you're doing it.
Yeah. Let's see. While I'm waiting for that to do its thing, I'll move on to a different group. I got these pirates I'm working on.
Oh, what are those for? Blood and Plunder? Or?
Oh yeah, Blood and Plunder. I'm gonna do some highlights on their tunics.
Cool.
So generic Golden Age piracy type pirates. So they can be used for even sailors on a regular European vessel, as well as pirates.
I've decided to change that head again, so I'm gonna. Ooh, not happy with it. Keep on swapping out the head.
Wow.
Different one now. There we go.
You know what? So you glue that on with regular super glue, or?
No, I'm using plastic glue for these because I'm a bugger for continually changing my mind about how I want them to look. So I just pull them off with that, and then just clean the sort of, if you like, the connection, get the glue off of it, and then just use it on a different model.
Yeah, because when I use the tester's glue, that cement, it bonds the plastics together, so they're melted together. I'm not able.
You have to be pretty quick about it.
Yeah. Oh, I see.
I decided his helmet looked too kind, whereas I wanted him to look a bit mean. So,
All right.
So I've just swapped that over.
What type of helmet?
It was a open visored Sallet, but I think the Sallet always looks better with the visor down. So that typical sort of Wars of the Roses late 15th century helmet. One of the main things I like about the period is simply that I love it. The armor. I think armor stops being so, apart from the rich people, stops being so showy, and it's just a lot more grim looking. There's a mistaken idea that they don't, that all shields go out of fashion. That they don't. There is a reduced use in the shields, but so you've just got guys with big pole arms and pole axes, and then just really gothic looking, evil looking armor. I really like it.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it depends on what soldiers were doing. I think the Spanish were probably very much into using shields.
Yeah, Italians were as well. Certain Italian troops would as well.
And then I know that they're not very Ottoman Turks. Their heavy cavalry had shields. Their infantry were starting to. Some of them were the heavy infantry would have shields, but their Janissaries would obviously not have shields. That's the army that I built, and my friend had the Wallachian army. The Wallachians are very much into shields. And same time period too, I think. Yeah.
I quite like the purvase shields that you see being used by the French and the Burgundians. For the crossbow guys hide behind them because you can model them either deployed or on their backs, and always good for the chucking a few arrows into so that they look obviously like they're in a battle. That's always good fun.
Yeah. Yeah, it depends on the nationality, I think, and what the troops are doing. I mean, as you go east, the Chinese were very much into using shields, and then you just go right across to Japan, and there's not a shield in sight.
Nope.
They just did not like them.
No. Some really angry guys with really, really cool looking big swords.
Yeah.
Like very, very simple. You see, I would like to do a 28mm samurai. I mean, I play Test of Honor, and that's again about as big for me because I would like to do a big sort of 28mm army, but it's something that I haven't actually sort of had the guts to do yet.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Going to be painting up a bunch of samurai soon. Some unarmored samurai.
Lovely.
Ronin type miniatures.
Have you seen? I've painted up quite a few models for Bushido, the sort of fantasy Japanese or just Eastern mythology inspired game, and they've got some lovely looking samurai and Ronin that I've painted up from there.
Okay. See, I've seen that game, but haven't jumped on board yet.
That's probably one of my favorite skirmish games. That one, it's probably my favorite combat mechanic in a skirmish game.
Really?
Yeah, I find it. I think it's very unique, and it's just got a lot of flavor to it.
So what exactly makes it different?
Well, basically, you you have your, for example, melee stat. So if you're if you get yourself into combat, and you say you're going to, I don't know, you're going to hit your opponent. You have 2 pools of different coloured dice each, and you decide out of your melee stats. So say you have a melee of 4. You decide how many of the dice you're putting into attack and how many you're putting in defense, but you keep it, it's a bluff, so you keep it secret. The opponent is fighting back at the same time. So the opponent, for example, if they have 3 dice, they've got to decide sort of, secretly, what am I going to do? Am I going to put everything into attack? Because and then you both roll them simultaneously, all of them, and then you resolve the attacking player's attack dice against the defending player's defense dice, and then if they're still alive, you resolve their attack dice against the attacking player's defense dice. So it's a proper to and fro sort of mechanic. But so you might get someone who comes charging in, and you're thinking, he's gonna go all out, and what the guy will do is he'll only put 1 dice into attack and he'll put loads of stuff into defense. And there's little abilities that trigger off of your attacks as well, like critical hits or leg sweeps and things like that. So it's just good fun, and I really enjoy it. And it's just and you have once that's done, you roll 2d6 and consult a chart to see how much damage you've done. But if you roll 6s, you get exploded. The dice, you get exploding dice mechanics where you just keep rolling again and again. Wow. So it's good fun, very good fun.
You gotta have the right group to play that, though.
Yeah, I'm quite lucky that we're all. I mean, one of the main reasons like it is it's only played on a 2-foot by 2-foot board, and the modelling opportunities for that are fantastic. You've only got to do a 2-foot by 2-foot board. You might as well just. So I've done like a plague-ridden Japanese farmland with paddy fields that have become all sort of gloopy and just destroyed. My friend, who I do most of my gaming with, he's done like a traditional courtyard inside a Japanese castle with willow trees and like a pond that's separating everything. Another friend has done a temple, and then I was looking at potentially doing like a beach or something like that, so like a fishing village. So, and because it's only 2x2, it's a little bit easier to store. So
right. Wow. Yeah, there's I built quite a bit of terrain for Japanese samurai stuff, so I'd fall right into it. If you're doing the rural country, another nice add-on that's not too expensive is if you go on Amazon, you can buy the cheapy bamboo.
Okay.
And you could just make groves of bamboo, and that's very very cool. Asian looking.
That's a good shout actually.
So, and it's super cheap.
That's always helpful. That's always helpful as well.
Although I don't know how fast it'll come, because I think a lot of those resources are from China, and some things from China take a while to get over to the U.S. At least. I can't imagine how slow it would be. They get to.
They can take their time. It can take its time.
And I'm on the west coast of the U.S., or actually not on the coast. I'm in Arizona, so I mean I'm even closer to China than you guys are, obviously.
Of course, yeah. I always think about it, when it's relevant. Yeah, of course, yeah. You're a lot closer, yeah.
But from what I understand, things coming from China, they go through our port in Los Angeles, and not just for gaming stuff, but everything is going through a tedious process of inspections and stuff. So it's not just coming. The process of getting it from China to the U.S. It's the process of getting through the customs.
Yeah.
ridiculous because of the COVID thing.
Yeah.
So
that's added to sort of timings all across the board here as well. You order something now, you just sort of tag on a bit longer.
It's funny though, if I order stuff from Europe though, it comes way faster. Before I got my 3D printer, I used to order stuff from Spain for a lot of my buildings and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, a lot of my Japanese buildings are from Plascraft games.
Yeah, I know them.
They're out of Spain, I think, right?
Yeah, they are, yeah.
And a lot of the buildings I have, I don't think they sell anymore, but I think they have some leftover Kensai buildings that...
that's another game that I have looked at before.
Yeah, I haven't jumped on board on that one either. The game that you're describing, the Banzai game, I've seen the Gorilla games.
Oh, yeah.
I play that. And unfortunately, it's turned me off because of the fact that I played Ronin.
Yeah.
By Osprey Games. And it has that mechanic that you're describing, where you hide some tokens or whatnot.
Yeah.
To be for attack and defense, and then you have a reveal to see if you're going to be successful or not. The problem is that in my gaming group, they haven't. The players don't bother with defense.
Right.
And they all select attack all the time. And so it sounds on paper neat and interesting, but with my own gaming group, it falls apart.
It won't work, yeah.
Because they just want to attack. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, nothing subtle here. We're just gonna
yeah. So I know where they're getting at to be subtle and I'm gonna defend and so forth, but you gotta play games that your friends will actually
you do play. Yeah. Definitely, or you've got to find a way to sort of you have to end up collecting them and then show it to them and co-opt them into convincing them, and then what happens is they usually buy something and then they never bother actually painting it up, so you end up in the same situation.
Yeah. There you have it. I kind of gave up on Ronin and going to Test of Honor, and Test of Honor is kind of neat because it uses the pull out of the bag type of
yeah. No, that's a lot of fun. I do love Test of Honor.
Yeah, it's got that randomness of bolt action, but it also has the three. I forget the name of those tokens in there.
Oh, the fate tokens. The
fate tokens. Yeah. So it's got the three fate tokens, which are kind of like the Tiffin cards out of
Sharp
Two
Practice.
Fat Lighters.
Yeah.
Sharp Practice, which I think is kind of neat because you don't know if you're going to be able to move all your miniatures or not. You have no idea. And you got to just go pick and choose which groups are the most important to activate. Which I think is one of the great things about gaming is those games that do give you the choices to gamble on.
Yeah.
There are too many games that just don't give you choices really. And it's quite funny is that the most of those games are the popular ones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What you end up getting a bit railroaded.
Yeah. Especially the big boy on the block. I haven't played a Games Workshop game in years, but when I played, it was like I aligned my miniatures on my side, and just a matter of rolling dice.
Yeah. No, I know exactly what you mean. And then yes, and then you get the shovel to take them off because they get removed from the table in such large quantities.
Yeah. All right, so what we got us here. Yeah. Still have those Games Workshop armies, but I don't know. Sometimes they use them for different other things.
Yeah, I've used them. I mix mine now for using them in Kings of War. I'm sort of rebasing all of my old Empire army to Kings of War, which we've played and sort of have enjoyed. It's fast and yeah, it's been actually quite good fun getting those out again.
Yeah, I don't know. Kings of War, I tried that a couple of times. I don't know if I like that mechanic where everything happens on your turn.
Yeah, there's no dice. Yes, it is. You don't. If it's not your turn, you don't roll any dice, basically.
And your opponent pretty much is taking a coffee break while you're having your turn.
Yeah.
There's no engagement between the other player.
I can definitely see. Yeah, I think at the moment our armies are so small that stuff happens quite fast. So we're not. There's not really any kind of like a long period of downtime. So but again, like you say, you suppose you got to be with the right kind of group. And my little gaming group, because we're all friends, and it's quite we all sort of get involved in what each other are doing and chatting tactics while you're doing it. So it's definitely something. I know there's a Kings of War historical. I can't really work out in my head how that would work, but it might be. I could probably have to watch some videos of people doing it to work it out.
I don't know how that one would work, actually. No idea. Let's see. Greedy Gold. Army Painter. War Paints. Greedy Gold.
Greedy Gold. I think I've only got 2 war paints, and that's Witch Brew and Lava Orange. The only 2 I have.
So I got a couple of pirates here that have some jewelry on. So.
Right. Oh, perfect. Well, that's the perfect name.
Perfect color is Greedy Gold for pirates. And that noise is my nail polish shaker.
Oh, right. Okay. There we go.
So it's perfect size for these dropper bottles.
Oh, right. Okay. Is it, and it works all right?
Oh, yeah. And half the price of the dedicated hobby ones does the same thing.
That's often the way. That's what you see these things that are getting marketed as, like you say, paint shaker, or these some kind of special type of brush, and then you can go on and find, oh no, someone else, another industry uses this, and they're dirt cheap.
Oh yeah, like this brush here is fantastic for dry brushing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's literally for it's a makeup brush.
Yeah, that's how I do. I just buy makeup brushes, and then Or I wait and steal them if my wife is done with them. Although it has been known occasionally that I have gone and grabbed one when it's maybe not necessarily finished with. I'm gonna have to go because I have to pack the bags for the CrackCon event.
All right.
Which we're leaving for tomorrow because we've got all the I think we've got 30 gamers now in total coming to that thing. So playing Black Powder, Sharp Practice, Muskets and Tomahawks, and I'm co-running a big game of Black Powder, and I think I'm supplying 75% of the models. So I've got to go and make sure there. But thank you very much for having me on. That's been great actually. I've really enjoyed just chatting and doing some modeling. It's been wicked.
All right. Yeah, take it easy now. Thanks a lot for showing up.
I will. See you later. Take care. I'll stay in touch.